So in this Java OCA lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about class structure. Classes are used to represent concepts and objects that have similar behaviors and attributes. You should recall that behaviors are the methods of a class, and attributes are the instance variables. For example, instrument would define a class, and a trumpet would be an object of the instrument class. A class is used to define objects with common characteristics. A popular way of understanding this is to think of the class as a blueprint and an object as a created instance of the blueprint. So the home you live in had a blueprint for the builders to read, and the home you live in is now a created instance of that blueprint. It is the actual object. Our goal then is twofold. First, we must write a class which will serve as our blueprint. Then we will create our objects by instantiating our class. This unit will focus on class structure so we correctly define our class blueprint. We begin here with some components of the Java class. The OCA exam will have questions based on the hierarchical order of these components. And down below you see some red X's. These are not covered by the OCA exam, so we will not be covering nested classes, nested interfaces, or enums. So the package statement has the highest hierarchical precedence, so it's ranked first. That means if your class has a package statement, not that it needs one, you can have a class without one, but if the package statement is there, it must be the first line of code. That would be followed by the import statement, so that has the second rank. If there is no package statement, then the import statement would be first. But going hierarchically, first comes the package statement, then comes the import statement, and third comes the class declaration, and fourth would be the class components. Now, the class components can be in any order inside of the class, right? And the one thing I skipped was comments, because comments are not executable code. Comments are footnotes or notes for programmers and other programmers to read or to recall what they did for something. So since comments are not executable code, they are ignored by the compiler. And that means that a comment could come before a package statement, or could come before an import statement or a class or a method. Comments can show up anywhere. So when the OCA exam asks you questions about the proper order, the trick part is that comments can show up anywhere in the order. So let's bring our focus to package statements, and we see that all Java classes belong to a package, but either the package is going to be explicitly declared, meaning that you're going to type it as your first line of code, or if you leave it out, the compiler will automatically assign a default package to your class. Now, the thing about default packages is they cannot be imported by other classes, and their purpose is so that you can test a simple program, or you can start a project, and as it evolves and gets bigger, you can then add the class to a package so that it can work with the other classes properly, and you can be importing it and things like that. When a class includes a package statement, it must be the first line of code. That being said, only a comment can precede a package statement. Again, comments are not executed statements, so they are ignored by the compiler and they can show up anywhere. So package statements begin with the package keyword, followed by a directory path, and a directory path is basically like the hierarchy of your folders on your computer. So here's an example of a package statement. It starts with the keyword package, and then we have a package folder, and you might have a package subfolder, and you might have a subfolder inside that subfolder. And each folder is separated by a dot, and once you got to the final folder where your class is going to reside, you put your semicolon to end the package statement. So, as I said here, a package statement is a directory of folders and subfolders to locate the class. I'm going to ask you to consider the illustration of folders in Figure 1 and use to answer the questions below. So first question is going to be, what would be an appropriate package statement for the arithmetic class? So we're going to look at this image. There is the arithmetic class at the top here. And this way of representing classes in a diagram, this is known as UML, which stands for Universal Modeling Language. And the class name is on top. And its methods and variables are in boxes below. I only have the methods listed here just to keep the graphics simpler and from getting too busy. So we see that the arithmetic class is inside the math function folder, so our package statement is going to be quite simple. We only have one folder to list. Package, math functions, and we're done. Now, you have to make sure that you've spelt it correctly. It starts with a lowercase m, there's a capital F, and there's an S on the end. The Java compiler is case sensitive, so you have to have capitalization right. You have to have it spelled correctly. These are errors that can happen when you're trying to find a folder if something is misspelled or the capitalization is not right. So there's our package statement for the arithmetic class. So now let's do this again, but let's do it for the linear equation class. So you want to find the linear equation class inside of a folder. Here it is. And now if you look at the chain of folders, you should be able to write a package statement with the folder and subfolders. So we see the linear equation class is inside the linear folder, which the linear folder is inside of the algebra folder, which the algebra folder is inside of the math functions folder. And we're going to connect each of these subfolders with a dot. Package, math functions, dot, algebra, dot, linear, semicolon. So the last folder is where you stop, and then you put your semicolon. This now gives the path to where the class will be saved, and the linear equation class is saved inside the linear folder, and the linear folder is in the algebra folder, and the algebra folder is inside the math functions folder, and you've given your compiler the map to finding your class where it's stored. So after discussing packages, it makes sense that we discuss how do we import these packages? How do we import these classes from these packages? So import statements are used to inform the compiler of the directory path to the class. This allows the imported classes to be referred to by their simple names instead of their fully qualified name. So we're going to see an example of the simple name versus fully qualified name. Import statements must come after the package statement, but before the class declaration is made. Your Java class can have multiple import statements. There is no limit to the number of classes you are allowed to import into your project. The following two class definitions complete identical tasks. The first class accesses the ArrayList class without importing it. The second class imports the ArrayList class first, then completes the same tasks. Notice the difference in the simplicity and readability of the code for the class with the import statement. So this example, it says public class no import demo, and we have our main method. And look at this. Now you've done array lists already in your Computer Science A course, and you never put this in front of the word array list before. And that's because you would import your array list, and this class does not. So just as you would at the top, let's go over for a moment to the imported class. At the top, we have import java.util.arraylist. You would write that once with an import statement, and you would not have to include this directory ever again. This is the class, or the class name, and this is the path to the class. So notice that the path is part of every single reference to ArrayList here, and this is what we mean by the fully qualified name. So the fully qualified name of a class includes the path, and we have to keep writing that path over and over. We wrote it with the declaration statement, we wrote it when we instantiated it, and then we were able to use the ArrayList methods and so on. And then when we printed this, here's the printout, And we see that when we do this with the import statement, we get the same exact printout. We add the same stuff, but notice that it's a much simpler use of ArrayList. I just have to type ArrayList. I don't have to say java.util.ArrayList every single time I'm declaring or instantiating the ArrayList. So now we want to know how to write import statements. Importing packages begin with the import keyword followed by the fully qualified path to the class. For example, we have import, here's the package folder, dot, the subfolder, dot, the next subfolder, and then we have the class name. We didn't have the class name when we wrote package statements, just the folder path. Now we have the class name when we're importing because we want a specific class. So we want to write the import statement for the arithmetic class. If we come up here and look at the graphic, we say, well, the arithmetic class is inside the math functions folder. This is a simple import statement. Import math functions dot arithmetic semicolon. So we have the path and we have the class name. So this is just one way we can write our answer. We could also write or import math functions dot asterisk semicolon. And the asterisk is called the wildcard in Java, and this will import all classes within the math functions folder. That is the folder the asterisk is connected to. It will import all the classes that are in that folder. If there are other folders in math functions, it will not import those. It only works on the folder name, not subfolder names. So now our next example says what would be an appropriate import statement for the parabola class. So now we want to say, all right, let's go find parabola. And we say, look, there it is, parabola. It's inside of the quadratic folder. And if we follow the quadratic folder, it's inside of the algebra folder. And if we follow the algebra folder, it's inside of the math functions folder. We have math functions.algebra.quadratic.parabola. And now we can also say, instead of writing all of that, we could have replaced just the last part with an asterisk, and the asterisk, the wildcard, at this point, imports all classes in the quadratic folder. Again, asterisks do not import folders or classes within the imported folders, just the present folder that we're in. So it has to be a class file in the quadratic folder, and it'll pull that in. So that concludes this presentation. Watch it again, take your notes, complete your assignment, and send me any questions that you have.